Pankaj from Larison Wealth Planners Private Limited. On the eve of second edition of the book, If God Was Your Financial Planner, we have an industry veteran with us to talk about the changes in the personal finance and financial advisory space. He will also share his ideas on financial literacy, and there is much more to this discussion. He's an author, speaker, trainer, and a blogger in personal finance and financial markets. To have this conversation with Mr. Amit, we have Mr. Suresh Sadagopan, who is a managing director and a principal officer at Larison Wealth Planners. I'm sure you will find this conversation useful and informative. So, without much ado, let's move into this conversation.
So it's a pleasure and privilege to be talking to Amit Bhai. So Amit has been in this industry for I don't know as long as I remember, and he has worked in the past, if I remember right, with Franklin Templeton, right?
Yes.
Franklin Templeton, right?
Yes.
Amit?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So and he has been a trainer. He has been a veteran in this industry. He knows I don't know hundreds, thousands of advisors, distributors, CFPs, AFPs, all kinds of people. So he's a well-known face in the industry. So I would just start by asking that what are the changes you have seen in the personal finance and financial advisory space over a period of time? You have been here, you have done that. Just wanted to know from you, what are the changes you have seen along the way, and what is your perspective on this?
So first of all, thank you so much, Suresh, for inviting for this talk, and thanks, Pankaj, for the generous words that you use at the time of introduction. I've been into financial services now for more than 3 decades, and over these years, one has actually seen the India story unfolding. So though in the beginning of my career, I had seen that crash in the market post Harshad Mehta scam, number of people trying to take advantage of stock markets in those days probably was a much larger number as a percentage of the population. However, they were trying to take advantage, whereas today you see people taking advantage of the stock markets and the financial markets. And that's one big change that we've seen. Number two, India's story, one has seen unfolding in these financial markets. And in terms of people's behavior, one of the big things that has happened is the movement towards financial assets from the hard assets called gold and real estate. So that move is also quite visible. The income levels and the savings levels have also gone up on a per capita basis. If I look at the addressable population for the financial markets, and this is, I'm not quoting any statistics, I'm just sharing my observations. And because of that, a lot of people have been looking for avenues to park their money, invest their money, save. The third big development that one has seen is the formalization of financial markets, where a lot of money has moved from the informal investment avenues to the formal investment avenues. So today, a large number of people are putting money in banks. They are putting more money in the securities markets, and in such products, rather than the erstwhile times where they were getting to the unorganized, unsecured deposits kind of markets.
Yeah, so there has been an explosion of products also over the years. At one point in time, maybe 3 decades back, when you were talking about, we had a PPF, equity culture was kind of developing at that time. Mutual funds were in its infancy. And the kind of products which are available today was not available at one point in time. So people used to think about FDs and post office and maybe some other instrument like life insurance policies and things like that. So the market has evolved a lot over a period of time. In fact, it has become a very vibrant market today. So, but the financial literacy challenge is still there very much in the country as it is across the globe. So, what do you think has to be done in that? How is that portion shaping up in India?
So, this is an interesting topic, and different people have different views. Again, I'll talk from my observation. At one point in time, people were not even familiar with the terminology of financial markets. Today, at least, more number of people are familiar with the terms. Now we have to take it one step further, and people need to understand what those terms really mean. For example, even today, a lot of people that you come across have heard of mutual funds, but they can't differentiate between a ULIP and a mutual fund. So many of them have come and said, this mutual fund, I've invested in this policy. So that's the differentiation that one needs to really now bring. So awareness of the terminology to understanding of the terminology. So that's required. The other big thing that has happened is the uncertainty of returns is now accepted better than it was earlier. And that uncertainty of returns, people have realized that there could be downside, but there could be upside as well. And to that extent, the acceptance is slightly better. In the last decade or so, or maybe more so in the last 5 years, when the markets have crashed, fewer number of people have stopped their SIPs compared to the earlier periods. So I think that also talks about the changes that are happening. But apart from that, I think the need for advice is one missing piece in this entire ecosystem. And I'm sure as an advisor, you do face this challenge. I think somewhere I need advice should not be seen as weakness. I need advice is actually a much powerful point, and it's a big realization. I think that's one area which is where I feel a lot of work needs to be done.
Yeah, true, Amit. See, advice is an area which, people ideally need to think, in terms of their lives rather than products, returns, and the novelty of the products, and, riding on the wave of the product, the latest fad, and things like that. There is a lot of complexity today in terms of, your life situation itself, meeting goals.
True.
And as far as the advice is concerned, it has to take into account all these things: the long-term wealth creation, meeting goals, life situation. You have earlier mentioned that there is, people have to think in terms of that, but not really thinking in terms of that. So, what would you make of that? People are still talking about products and returns rather than meeting goals and wealth creation.
So, in many of my presentations or talks to investors, I mentioned this particular point. Money by itself is not an end. It's a means to an end. And the objective is to live a life of one's choice. And money is a very useful tool. Now, when I talk about money, it's not just the cash in hand or cash in bank. It covers the entire spectrum of financial products, investment avenues. So these are vehicles or tools that help us live a life. And that's where that holistic approach to the role of finances in life must be highlighted more and more. You are absolutely right. So that's where, when I initially said that people are familiar with the terms, they don't really know the meaning of it. Now, this is the meaning that those terms derive. For example, we do talk about inflation. But now with rising life expectancy, what havoc inflation can create in the retirement years must be understood by somebody. Today, we don't have too many examples of people who faced the negatives of that longevity and inflation. And that's why there are not too many examples in front of the eyes. It's better to educate so that more number of people are prepared before they hit that block, right? So that's why, and as you rightly said, it's about life. It's not about which fund does better or which stock is good or which loan is good. It's eventually which is appropriate for my requirement, which can make my life better.
Correct.
Number two is the transitions which are happening in life. And now, again, there are too many transitions happening. I mean, I used to have this discussion with my father many times, that he worked in the same organization throughout his life. the day he started working in, the day he retired, it was the same organization. And I worked in corporate sector for 15 years. And okay, I didn't change too many times, but the company got taken over. And to that extent, in 15 years, I worked under 8 different names of the companies.
Oh, okay.
Right. I had 9 different bosses in those 15 years.
Oh, okay.
Now, that's just one part of it. But I decided to quit. And that was a major decision that I had to take. Today, couples have become more mobile. There could be single income or double income families, but more nuclear families than joint families. Retirement, in many cases, there is no fixed age. At one point in time, the employer used to decide on this day, this person would retire. Today, there is no such thing. And if you, God forbid, if somebody is retrenched after 50, getting re-employment is another big challenge. So which is nothing but, retirement fast forwarded. All these transitions are something that need to be brought into the discussion. And based on that, various scenarios need to be seen. And that's where a good advisor can provide a beautiful perspective as to what are the possibilities, what can happen, and how do you play the game.
Yeah, true. But only a small portion are going and opting for a financial advisor.
Yeah.
A lot of people tend to think that they are in a position to do it all by themselves. So there is a
Right.
thinking that if I understand or I know a bit about the products, then I will be able to do things myself. So that
So
kind of a
Suresh,
thought process is there.
yeah. So just one point on what you just, and sorry to interrupt, but what you were saying is very, very critical. And I've written in one of my books, Personal Finance Lessons from the ICU. And I've taken the example from Kaun Banega Crorepati, and I said, Kaun Banega Crorepati used to offer 2 different lifelines. One is ask the audience or phone a friend, and the second was ask the expert. Right now, ask the audience is taking a popular opinion. Phone a friend is asking somebody who may or may not know the subject. But ask the expert is where you are actually going to the right person. And whenever complicated things are involved, phone a friend is not an appropriate lifeline to use. Ask the expert is.
Correct.
Having
Very
said
well
that-
put. Very well put. Very well put.
Having said that, which expert to go to is another challenge for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, a tax advisor may not be a good financial advisor. Both are different fields. And the professor in economics may know nothing about personal finances, while that person could be a great economist. Right?
True.
So that nuances also need to be understood. To that extent, the entire field is quite in a nascent stage. Today, I know that if I have a problem with my teeth, I will not go to a cardiac surgeon. I'll go to a dentist. In the medical science, that is very clear. In financial field, that clarity is still missing.
Yeah. I'm absolutely very well put, Amit. I mean, you have explained this whole thing very, very beautifully in a way that anybody can easily understand. And with that thought process only, SEBI also had come up with the IA regulation.
Yes.
And they had brought this new category of people called registered investment advisors into the advisory space in 2013. I mean, many of us were actually providing financial advice even before that. So, I mean, what is your view about the RIAs and how many of them are required? And I mean, people are talking about the challenges in the advisory space, the RIAs themselves, and a lot of customers are not aware about IA. So there are quite a few challenges here. So can you elaborate a bit on this, please, Amit?
Yeah. So first of all, the registered investment advisors, as per the regulations, are required to be acting in a fiduciary manner. And that means putting the client interest ahead of one's own interest. Number 2, the registered investment advisor would earn through fees charged from the customer and not through commission by selling a product. Now, these two are big differentiators compared to most other intermediaries in the financial space. The
Correct.
regulations also mandate that if you are operating in multiple products across securities markets, then you've got to be registered as investment advisor. Otherwise, if you are operating in a single product space, then yeah, the incidental advice can be given out without registering as investment advisor. The discussion that we are having about the holistic approach, etc., largely falls under the RIA's ambit, where you are looking at the life situation, you're making a financial plan to cover various situations, various transitions, various scenarios in life. And from that point of view, the requirement is very much there. As some of you have been practicing for, I think, 20 years now. I think you started in 2002 or 3, writing financial plans.
2004.
Yeah. So almost 20 years. Yeah. Regulations came a decade after you all started, right? I mean, the regulations came in 2012. So,
Yeah.
but the good thing is, regulator has realized the need for having this profession. Now, whatever challenges that we are going through, the tightening of the regulations, etc., may be a difficult phase, but I think that's part of the game. And to that extent, we have to go through the hiccups, because regulator also, if you look at it from the regulator's point of view, the other avenues which are regulated are where a product is involved. Whereas in case of an RIA, there is advice without a product also.
Correct.
Right? I mean, if I'm a mutual fund distributor, I'll be talking about a mutual fund. But as an RIA, you may say, okay, today you can't afford to have a loan and also have speculative investment, pay off, sell off the investment and pay off the loan.
Correct.
Or you may say that actually you've taken a loan to buy a house. That's a very costly proposition. You don't need the house. Get rid of the house, get rid of the loan, and stay on a rented accommodation. You may have a better house. Okay. So you may look at multiple things where there is no product selling involved. You are actually giving a de-selling advice. Don't buy this or get out of this.
Yeah.
So if you look at it from that point of view, it's a big difference between the other areas which are regulated versus RIA. And to that extent, I think the regulator will also catch up over a period of time.
Correct. So, I mean, to bring out some of these aspects which you have mentioned about, I have written this book called If God Was Your Financial Planner, which has financial planning, personal finance, and all those things. I had written in a story format. I think you had also gone through the book. I mean,
yes.
So any particular portion or anything that you want to highlight for the investors at large?
So a few things that I would like to highlight. Number one, again, it's more my mindset, which helps me connect with this book beautifully well, because the entire book is spiritually oriented, where you also sort of refer to the Krishna and Arjun Samvad, where eventually you go to the Supreme. Yeah. Now that Supreme is supposed to be guiding somebody in the right manner. And that's a very powerful message. So if God is your financial planner, you are taken care of, because God takes care. Yeah, right. So that's a very hard-hitting approach as far as I'm concerned. The second is there are stories. This is a book about financial planning, devoid of jargons. It's easy to read, and actually it's a pleasure to read book. The third thing that I liked about the book is many areas are brought on the discussion table between the planner and the client, and the planner gives logical and still palatable answers as far as the client is concerned. Because what I've seen over the years is, because the client in most cases is not so aware of the subject of financial planning, and financial planner is an expert. Between an expert and a novice, In many cases, the expert tends to talk logic from the left brain, whereas the client is receiving from the right brain in an emotional manner. And that's where the communication breaks down. In your book, the planner is talking to the right brain of the client. I think that approach is also wonderful. And because of that, a lot of people would be able to connect with many of the stories. Yeah, okay, I know somebody who was facing this, or, oh, I have been through this, or something. I mean, so those stories are very relatable. And that makes it easy to get some of the answers to some of their nagging questions.
So thank you, Amit. And last question about the about where we are going as a country. I mean, the country is rapidly becoming wealthier. People are becoming wealthier, and in my opinion, financial advice becomes even more critical when people have serious wealth. So, what is your thought on this?
Okay, so there are two things. Number one, people are getting wealthier, but at the same time, the avenues of spending are also going up. Right. So in one of the earlier discussions that I had with somewhere, somebody asked me the definition of capitalism. I said capitalism is a place where earning is difficult, spending is easy. Right. So in such a situation, when earning is difficult and spending is easy, saving takes a toll. And when saving takes a toll, you can't create wealth. The wealth that you have may start to deplete if you can't control your expenses. I think that's a very, very big lesson that we got to learn. We have been a nation of savers, and that has helped us over the years. We've come from an absolute poverty to becoming the 5th largest economy in the world, with a significantly large number of billionaires and significantly large number of unicorns, and some very large corporations employing a large number of people. That progress can continue if we still continue that saving mindset. Now, that saving mindset is step number one. Step number two is where that saving must be channelized to productive investments. Number three, the aspirations are rising far faster than income and wealth. Now, if you put all these things together, then somewhere I may not be in a position to take the right decisions, and that's where I need a guide. That's where I need help. And that help can go a long way in securing a phase of life which we are going to hit, and we are going to spend a lot of time there. And just look a few years back. I mean, if you simply say that 100 is the expected life, 100 years, okay, and I'm hypothetically speaking, then my parents' generation, people used to start working at 20, they would retire at 60. So they would work and save for 40 years, and then there'll be 40 years in retirement. Actually, the expected life was much shorter in those for that generation compared to ours. But assume 100 years. Now, people like us, and actually one generation below, they are talking about fire, retire early. Now, if you start, and then they don't start work at 20 because they complete their post-graduation or probably even super specialization. So earliest they would start at 25, they want to retire at 55. Now, 25 to 55 is 30 years of work, and 55 to 100 is 45 years in retirement. So whereas in my parents' generation, the ratio was 1:1, this ratio is 1:1.5. Straight away, the math works against you.
Correct.
And in such a case, if there is no guide available to help you take proper decisions, and I'm not saying you stop living now only to secure a better old age. That's not the point. You balance between today's life and tomorrow's life. And for that balance, a right guide is required.
Good, Amit. I mean, a lot of nice examples, a lot of anecdotes, drawing from your experience. So it was wonderful talking to you. Thank you very much. I hope all the viewers, listeners are they're enlightened and entertained both.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot. Good day.
Dear viewers, I hope the discussion was useful and informative. Like this, we are going to have many more interesting discussions ahead. So stay tuned for the updates. Now, let me tell you about the book Mr. Suresh Sadagopan has written, If God Was Your Financial Planner. So, what's in this book for you as a reader? The knowledge shared through this book is the essence of Mr. Suresh Sadagopan's 18 years of advisory practice. It is written in an easy, accessible story format that makes it an irresistible read. You will learn the nuances of personal finance and financial planning, and you will know firsthand how a good financial advisor can help clients. And if you're an advisor, you will get an inside view of the advisory practice. So, what are you waiting for? Go and grab your copy. It is available on Amazon, or you can call us or write to us if you want a signed copy by the author. And I'll see you in the next session. Till then, take care of yourself. Bye.